Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm just here today to share a little bit about my story before I found myself coming to the Hruska Clinic and going through the PRIME program. So it all started about 4.5, almost nearing 5 years ago now, but I had been experiencing some just overall body dysfunction. I started feeling one day like I wasn't in my body, and that was a really weird feeling for me because I was a really active person. I was a dancer for 15 years. I had a really successful spa and business that I was running, and so I was used to really being very active, and just overall my energy levels were always pretty high. But one day I started noticing pretty quickly that I was very fatigued. I felt outside of my body. I felt like my legs weren't really underneath of me. I felt like my vision wasn't connecting with the world around me, and I was terrified. I thought for sure I was dying. I thought something crazy was happening to me. I'd never been sick before in my life, and so especially as a mother, this was very alarming to me because I'm going, what's happening? So it slowly started to snowball after that, or more so quickly started to snowball after that, because I then started only really feeling my joints moving. I could feel like my kneecaps moving, and my legs wouldn't move underneath of me, or I felt like they weren't. I started having blood pressure changes and drops and rises, and I would black out multiple times a day. I think at my worst I was passing out around 20 times a day. My blood pressure would just bottom out. I was having tremors all throughout the day, usually on the right side of my body. I felt like both sides of my body weren't working together. Sometimes I'd have more strength in one side over the other. The tremors would last anywhere from a few minutes to a good part of an hour. I mean, all the way down to my eyes. My eyes would even shake. And so as this continued, and I went through my pregnancy with this on top of that, so that kind of added in some of the confusion. A lot of people were just telling me, it'll go away after pregnancy. These things can happen sometimes. And so we were kind of banking that after I had our daughter, that everything would resolve itself. So after I delivered, things took quite a huge turn after that. My blood volume got dangerously low, and my body kind of went into shock. So from there, I was able to walk myself up to delivery, even though I was using a walker on and off because of the fainting and the weakness in my body. But after I delivered, I left completely unable to walk. And from this point, it stayed that way for years. I searched all over the country. I went to different treatment centers and specialists with my husband, and nobody could figure me out. And I was told many times, I was given many different diagnoses, but I was told many times that I would just have to manage living that way. And of course, having 2 children now and a husband, I knew that wasn't going to be okay. So I was still fighting through the symptoms. We would get temporary relief through different infusion therapy and things like that, but it would always plummet right back down a couple hours later, or the next day, and so we just couldn't figure out why. Luckily, a local news station had done a segment on our story for Veterans Day, since my husband is a veteran, and just kind of seeking help for us for a specific treatment center in the country, in Texas, and that ended up, of course, not working as well, like any other treatment that I had tried. And so after we got back from Texas, we found our way to the Hruska Clinic, and I became a patient of the PRIME program. And that is where my story began to change, and how I began to get my life back.